Okay, here we go. We just leaving Chicago and we're going down. This is still part of the Chicago River, and then it'll turn into a canal system uh, that was dredged out for commercial traffic, I guess. There are some barges going through here and all of that kind of stuff, but we're heading on the river, and it's kind of like what I expected I was going to see. The weather doesn't really affect uh, you traveling up and down these canals and waterways. It could be raining, it could be windy, and it doesn't seem to affect the water a whole lot. Mainly because you've got this trees on both sides and kind of well protected water. So I'm hoping that everything going downstream all the way to Mobile, Alabama is going to be like this, comfortable, not have to worry about traveling uh, too slow or watching my weather in the mornings before I take off. Uh, it is a nice, pleasant ride. It's nice to be back into the river systems versus being out in the lakes and out in Chesapeake Bay and the larger bodies of water. Those you have to be pretty careful when you're crossing. These things like this one right here, the way I'm traveling right now is perfect. I am able to actually travel a little bit faster, still doing the same RPMs, but I'm traveling faster because I'm heading downstream now. So it's kind of helping me by pushing the boat downward also. Um, so it's going to be, I think, probably a nice trip all the way down to Mobile. I hope, anyway. But anyway, we'll find out as we get further down. Right now, we're kind of figuring on traveling maybe about 40, 45 miles today, and then go ahead and find some place to stop. I think there's a little town called Peoria, where I think that's where I'm going to go ahead and stay the night. Apparently, there's a lot of boaters out there, a lot of boats doing the loop that are tying up there, or that's one of their main tie-ups as you're doing the loop. So for me, it's kind of like I can kind of stick with them or keep going on my own because I travel a little bit faster. Uh, but sometimes I meet up with a bunch of them, and we all tie up in the same place or same area somewhere, just to kind of get to talk to each other. They have what they call docktails. They all get together and they bring your own liquor and bring a snack or something, and they kind of chit chat, talk about the trip, how everything is going, what's going on, where everybody's heading to. Uh, but in most cases, I don't drink, so I kind of just bring a little Pepsi with me, and sometimes I bring some crackers or something just so I can have something to munch on while we're doing the trip here. Here's one of the boaters that's on the loop, and as like I said, I pass a lot of them on the way because I'm traveling a little bit faster than they do. Uh, but compared to they have their own little private condo with them, so it doesn't matter how fast or how slow they're traveling. They can drop anchor just about anywhere and still be comfortable. Um, I did find out, obviously, once you got on the rivers here, is what the barges are like, and they're pretty huge barges, and they're not like one tugboat pushing one barge. It's more like one tugboat pushing up to 12 barges I've seen so far, where one tugboat was pushing 12 barges that they tie them up all together, then put them three wide and four long. And the tugboats, I guess, are pretty strong to be able to push those things along and be able to navigate the rivers on the turns and the curves and making it, make those things turn. So it's pretty interesting to watch. Uh, you kind of have to, while you're passing one of these, you don't necessarily, we were told you don't necessarily want to be calling the captain of the barges or the tugboats, just to let them know that you're crossing them or something like that, because they're pretty busy. They're concentrating more on, make sure they don't run aground and stuff like that. So you don't really have to call them. What I do is when I get close to them and decide to pass them on one side or the other, if you pass them to their port side, you sound one blast. If you pass them on your starboard, you sound two blasts. And here I am going, getting ready to pass one barge here, but as you can see, there's another barge in the other direction coming this way, so I kind of have to slow down and wait up for to get past this barge here, and then go ahead and try and overtake this barge, the bigger tugboat here, or this tugboat that's pushing all these barges here. And the one thing I didn't realize is that when I went ahead and started to pass this barge, there was another barge on the other side that I didn't really see until after I turned in. So I had to kind of step it up and give it some throttle and try and get past between the two barges. That got a little creepy because I didn't realize I was going to be this close together between two barges. I was kind of like sandwiched in between the two barges. You don't really want to be in that kind of a situation. A lot of things could go wrong, and that's why you always try and avoid trying to go in between the two barges here. See, here's where I'm trying to avoid the two barges, because there's one coming one way, the other one's going the other way. And so I slowed down and I figured, okay, I'll wait for them to pass each other, and then I'll go ahead and pass the one barge in front of me. And as soon as I saw him, I decided to go ahead and take off and make the pass. What I didn't realize is the other barge was actually moving, and I thought it was completely stopped. So I thought, well, I got plenty of time to do this. And then it turns out, no, that he was moving, and I had to step it up some because now I was going to get stuck in between the two barges, and I did kind of get stuck between the two barges. And you really don't want to do that. A lot of things could have gone wrong doing this. My engine could have given out on me, and then I have no control as to which way I'm going. The other barges, these barges cannot stop. By the time they see you, or you're broke down, or you're in the middle of the river, by the time they see you and they start to slow down, they'll hit you before they can do a complete stop. And that's what happened to me here, is that I got in between these two barges here, and that's not a very good idea. Shouldn't have tried it. Should have just waited back, sat back, and waited till this barge passes the other barge, and then go ahead and try and do a crossing. And like I said, a lot of things could have happened. I'm running a single engine. My engine could have gone out for whatever reason. It has happened before already, where my engine has just died out, and it was because I had too much water in my fuel filter, and I had to stop and replace the fuel filter, which was full of water. And once I replaced the fuel filter with a new filter, the motor starts right back up again, now because you're running fuel through there instead of water. So things like that can happen, and you don't know when they're going to happen. So you have to be kind of cautious when you're crossing, when you're passing these huge barges, because they can't stop. No matter, even if they try, no matter how hard they try to stop, they're not going to stop in time. Okay, that's just the way it is. But anyway, so far here, we've come into a lock here, and what they've done here is that now we're going downstream. So all the locks now, instead of bringing you up, are going to start taking you down, because the streams now are heading out toward the Gulf. The sea level is dropping now, so when you get to Mobile, I mean, that's at sea level. So the elevation here is much higher than it is in Mobile, Alabama. So now all the lock systems are working downward instead of going upward. And in these locks, this one here was pretty deep, pretty tall. I went ahead and let this bigger boat go in first. Let him get in and let him tie up and everything. That way, I can just pick my spot where I want to get into, and it always makes it easier. The bigger boats have to stay, within a certain range of the doors, and I don't. I can pretty much tie up on the first cleat or on the last cleat, and it doesn't really hurt me at all. But even as you can see here, I give them a lot of leeway as far as letting the bigger boats get in, let them do their thing. It's not that big of a deal when I go in, because all I do is just go in, grab a line, and I'm done. Shut my engine down, and then just sit around and wait. It takes them quite a while. When you figure, imagine you going into a bathtub, that's full of water, and then they pull the plug on it, and you have to sit there and wait while all the water drains out, and then it reverses itself. It's all done by gravity, so and then it reverses themselves when they close the other side of the gates. Then they open some pumps that they open up, and then what that does is that pushes the water back into it. So now you're filling the tub back up again. So that's all they do all day long is fill and drain this tub, as I call it. And it's all, from what I was told by one of the lock masters, it's all gravity fed. So there's nothing really serious as far as, what can go wrong, except the gate systems. The gates are hydraulic systems, and when those go, obviously you're not going to be able to work on the locks or be able to use the locks to go in and out of for that reason. But here we are. I'm still kind of waiting back for this guy to come in. He gave the other guy a green light, but he hasn't given me a green light. So I'm kind of still waiting to see, is he going to let me come in with the other one? I don't see why not. There's no reason why not. But he hasn't given me a green light. So I'm kind of wondering, what's going on, why. Well, he finally gave me the green light, and I went ahead and came on in, and now, as you can see, the gates behind me are closing. So as soon as they close those shut, they'll go ahead and start draining the bathtub, as I call it. But I'm not going to go ahead and I did film the whole thing, but I'm not going to go ahead and let you just sit there and watch the tub go empty. So I went ahead and edited some of it so that it's going to show, here where, the water level, and then it's going to show when it's empty and we're pulling out. So you can see here how big these channels are. So it can take a while to drain and fill these back up. And that's why it normally takes you about 45 minutes to an hour just to get through these things. It's not an easy task, and it takes a while. But like I said, I'm going to go ahead and edit this because I don't need to show you, just watching us go up and down the thing here. I'm going to go out to now. Here you've seen how much we've dropped already, and it's about as far as it's going to get. So you can see the water line way up there where we started and where we came down to, and you can see the gates now are finally starting to open slowly. They start to open, and then now we're at level with the river, and we're going to be able to go ahead and go through now. A lot of these dams are built to control the water from one section to the next section to ensure that there's plenty of deep water for the barges to come in and out of the river system here. So they control how much water they let in and out of here. These gates kind of open real slow compared to some other gate systems, but there's not a whole lot we can do. We just got to sit here and wait till they finish opening completely. That's the other thing that they won't do, is they won't allow you to start going out until the gates have completely opened as far as they're going to go and they're locked down. And again, that's procedure for them, that they're not allowed to allow anybody to start going out of the bathtub until the gates are completely opened and completely, in other words, they're not moving anymore. Then you're allowed to go ahead and start your engine and start out. Now, right now, I've actually already untied myself from the lines, from the pins that they have here, and I've started my engine, and I'm just kind of waiting. As they get closer to almost being completely open, I push myself off the wall so that I can get, so that I don't end up scrubbing the wall while I'm taking off. And it's no big deal. It's just push myself off just a little bit, and it gives me enough clearance in between the wall and the boat so that when I do put it in forward, I don't run into the wall or start scraping the wall. As you can see, the gates are still opening, so they still haven't given us the go-ahead. There is a big horn that they have that sounds when the gates are completely open. The big horn sounds, and that basically tells you, okay, you're clear to go ahead and go out the tub. And normally you're going to see the boat in front of me take off first. Once he takes off, then I'd go ahead and take off behind him. You can see the gate is just about finished. So right around now we hear a big horn blast go off, and you can see I've kind of pushed myself off a little bit. That's because I just heard the horn. So I'm trying to get away from the wall so that we can start heading out. You can see that the boat in front of me is moving out, but doing it pretty slow, but he's already actually started to move out. So I'm just now, well, I thought I had pushed myself off the wall. I guess not. I'm still sitting here. But it's pretty interesting. This is the way all the locks are. Most of them work just the same way as this one. And I've gone through a lot of locks all the way from Florida all the way on up as the sea level rises, or as the levels rise in the further inland I go. So this lock system here controls how much water depth these rivers and lakes can hold, so that the big barges can come in and out of. And as you can see here, the big boat now is coming out, so I'm going to go ahead and push myself out of the way now and go ahead and follow the other boat. As you can see, I'm now under power and moving forward, and I'll be out of here shortly. But it's pretty interesting how now everything is reversed. Now we start off at high water and we work our way down the river system, where before we were working our way up from, let's see, the first locks that I run into, I guess on the river system and everything, were right at New York City, where they had the Hudson River had some one or two locks in that system there, and then there was a Mohawk River that had some locks, and of course the Erie Canal has tons of locks as you're going up an elevation. these locks control the water and allow you to go upstream, I guess, as they would call it. Now that we're going downstream, everything goes down. So now when you get into one of these locks, it's full of water, and then it drains, and then it allows you to go out. So here we are leaving now, and we're heading, like I said, to this, I think it's a little town called Peoria. It's going to be a little interesting because I'm going to post just a short 5-second video of the ending of this film right here. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I'm going to film it without deleting the sound. And I didn't realize until I started to edit this video here that there was some sound on this last 5-second clip that I don't know where it came from. I have no idea how it got there. There was nobody around me when I filmed this thing. I know that for a fact because there was 2 other ladies that were also filming these boats that were all tied up on the seawall. But they were quite a ways away from me, so I couldn't hear them, and they wouldn't be able to hear me if we were talking to each other. But it's kind of funny that you're going to hear some, I can't tell exactly what it sounds like. It sounds like a little girl or a little boy talking, and I'm not sure if it's saying you shouldn't be here or you should be here. I don't know. and also there seems to be like a music or sound behind when this little person or this, I don't know if it's a boy or girl or what it is, but it sounds like a kid, and it sounds like it's got some music background to it. And I can't imagine, there's no way, because I didn't hear it when I was recording it. Obviously, had I heard it when I recorded it, I would have turned around, looked around, said, hey, what's going on? I didn't hear it until I started to edit this part of the film here. And it's kind of funny. I guess I call it, my Halloween thing. But I'm gonna play that after I post this video here. I'm gonna post that 5-second film right after it without deleting the volume, so that you can listen to it and give me suggestions. Tell me what it is. I have no idea what it is, where it came from. I know I was the only one, that was around at the time, because I remember walking across the bridge. Now, here are all the boats that I was telling you about. When I got here to Peoria, all these boats were already here. Well, some of them were here. I tied up, and then there was about 2 or 3 boats tied up when I first got here. And then as the evening went on, you can see these boats, a couple of these boats, 3 or 4 of these boats I remember passing on my way up here. So they finally caught up and tied up to the wall. And this is normally what happens, is these boats all kind of stick together, follow each other, and they all basically tie up in the same place and everything. But now you're going to see some film of me going across the river here. Here I am across the river, and you can see I'm filming all the boats here. And then as I finish filming this, as you can see, there's nobody around me. It's just me. And as I finished filming this part right here, I decided to go ahead and film. There was a little building that had the name of the town, so I decided to film the building with the town name on it, so that I could remember, okay, this is where I was at when I did this. But you can see all the different boats there lined up, and you can see I'm right there, kind of like the little dinghy of all these big boats. But hey, what said, size doesn't matter, right? Anyway, here's the last 5 seconds of it, and then I'm going to post this right here so that you can actually listen to what I recorded here. Okay, that's it.